Preparing to live stream.
One more thing.
There we are. We're here. Right. Still can't see it. I have my little handheld phone over here and I'm just like wait to see it on there, but I've seen it already on my laptop or on my desktop, should I say. Yay, we're here. Officially we have arrived.
We are.
Hello everybody. Thank you for being here. Delighted to have you with us. And again, I'm always interested with this because whatever that number is, as we know, it squares, right? Last week we had 13 people in total, which gave us the energetic value of 169. And it's interesting actually because I've been reading today, um, and this is talking again at a high level about the energetic influence of, sort of like-minded souls coming together. And the number actually is the multiplication number is actually much bigger. So, the squaring thing, we'll just stick with that. But either way, it's moving us in the right direction, that's for sure. So
Yes, that's awesome.
thank you for being here, Joy. Always good to have you with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
And we've been working as a point of interest today, Jolie and I've been working on the show for Sunday.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's going to be fun.
And this meditation is going to really facilitate us moving into Sunday's show because it's really all about moving into love, right? And the ways in which to do it. And this meditation is one of them.
For sure. And that's it. It's again, I mean, I like this guided meditation because that 5 minutes of guidance that you give us before we're set free to work our own way of doing things, right? Uh,
Mhm.
I do find that that's perfect because it just pulls us all into line. I just think that's the joy of it really is just knowing that everybody's on the same wavelength, but after 5 minutes, then you go on your own journey into bliss, but adding that frequency into the collective consciousness, knowing that, say, for instance, obviously in Texas, where a lot of people have lost their lives and there are other people missing, to be able to think about that, but think about it in a way where it's constructive rather than focusing on the challenges, right?
Right? The challenge aspects of it, because that's all we're fed. So if you can really, I mean, if we listen to mainstream media is kind of what I'm saying. But if we put gold light, like I say, white light, if we can manage to, even if it's 5 minutes a day, send some love to these people, it is going to make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is incredibly powerful. And one of the things I do love about it is the amount of scientific evidence that's out there now supporting this. So back in the day, 7 years ago, I would have regarded this as complete woo-woo nonsense. But at the end of the day, I have seen the science and
Mhm.
we've seen how they do this. You know what I like the best? It's in that the One Field documentary movie, and they've got the Russian scientist who, and he has this thing he calls the Sputnik, which was kind of one of the earliest satellites out in space back in the 1950s. But it looks like the Sputnik because it's almost like a circular hedgehog. And
Mhm.
that's his device for measuring, the frequencies of consciousness and the changes before it begins, as it goes through. But but here's the thing, right? Because this is why this is so important, this Pam thing, like doing it 7 days a week, if you possibly could. But whenever you can do it, you can do it, right? And if Sundays is a main day, absolutely. But I usually find I'm very busy there after the show. But the fact is that with Lynn McTaggart, when she was doing all her experiments, they would actually absolutely, you would see the spike in consciousness. You would see areas of the world going into peace that had been in conflict. And you would see, but once the experiment was over, it would then descend back down the scale towards where it was before. So the joy of what Pam has kind of come up with here is something that happens every day of the week. And it reinforces it and it reinforces it and it reinforces it. So a bit like when you're talking to us, Jolie, about creating a practice for yourself, right?
Right.
It's about consistency, right?
Yes, and it helps when you have partners that you have to show up for that hold you accountable. And that's why we created this, because we realize that there may be energies and frequencies that push us to stop meditating, not meditating, distract us to do other things. But if we make it a non-negotiable to show up every Thursday at 10, 11 a.m. or whatever time zone
Mm,
you're in, we then create that momentum and that consistency that brings manifestation.
yeah, it does. And you know, that's things that like the last couple of weeks we've been talking about, you know, in the conversations we've got, talking about imagination and, you know, imagination, manifestation. It's real. It's
Yes,
real. And again, that's something that I would not have been able to absorb 7 years ago. But the fact is that you kind of realize this is this is why we're discouraged from using our imagination at school, because this is us stepping into our power.
right.
Instead, as we've said before, you learn rote facts, you learn knowledge, you don't learn wisdom. But
Yes,
now is the time that we're kind of starting to realize we can take our ownership of this back and we imagine. What we imagine becomes, you know, it starts to create reality. So we just got to do it consistently. And group consciousness, as we know, is enormously powerful. So yeah. And hi, Jennifer. We've got Jennifer with us as well. Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for everybody else who's here as well right now.
absolutely.
And yeah, the Sunday's program is going to be special. Again, it follows consistently on the line,
Yes,
and we're just adding more energy to this whole thing. And it's not dissimilar to this, as you said, Jolie, you know, this what we're doing here with the meditation today is very aligned with the Sunday thing as well.
is correct. Yeah, I believe so. And I really feel like it's a very tight, well put together show and specific, in helping us move into that frequency and vibration where we're, in joy.
Yeah, yeah. And what will be quite unique about it is that we might be bringing in a Disney character as well.
Fun times, always joy and laughter, high vibrations, and really being able to simplify some of these concepts, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Anything that helps to pull us out of fear gives us a visual that pulls us out of fear, that kind of enables us to see it from a correct perspective. It overcomes the illusion, right? Because the illusion gets painted for us all the time. We're being drawn into the dark story because that means that we're in fear, which means that we're feeding the perpetrators the energy that they want. So
Yes,
not falling for that one anymore.
not anymore.
No.
The emperor has no clothes, right?
Yes. Or you know, like also I think about my King Canute kind of thing as well, where you know the darker forces are trying to say like King Canute on the sand with his throne, saying this the because he was all powerful. He said the tide shall not come in. The tide did come in. They may be trying to stop us from ascending to New Earth, but that tide is coming in.
Absolutely.
So yeah. And you know, when we did this last Thursday, I'll tell you what, I was doing the breath work thing. You know, like you say about the 5 seconds in fire hold. I
Hmm.
was buzzing. I was buzzing. I was like almost I don't know. I've never the only time I felt like that before was when I did breath work exercise proper, like over
Hmm.
an hour and a bit. And wow, it was amazing. It was amazing just how powerful it was. Right. I think we're going to get ready because it's 1 minute to now. So given we have a slight delay on what we put out between where you are and I are, on Zoom. We're going to go do it now, right? Are we ready? Right. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to the meditation.
Put your feet flat on the floor and your palms face up on your thighs. Bring your awareness to the center of your head and visualize a beautiful golden portal between the center of your head and the center of your heart. Inhale for a count of 5. Pause and exhale gently for a count of 5. Inhale for a count of 5. Pause and exhale gently for a count of 5. And visualize the center of your head and the center of your heart communicating, creating coherence with one another. And as you breathe, bring your awareness down into your heart. And from this heart-centered space, I want you to visualize your heart opening like the lens of a camera and creating a vortex that is giving and receiving divine love. And from this place of sharing and receiving, visualize like-minded people coming together, joining hands for unspeakable beauty all across the earth, understanding the importance of the interconnectedness. Say to yourself, we are welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. Say to your fellow man, we are welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. And say to Mother Earth and the universe, we are welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. And gently touch your heart center and feel this love pulsating through you and all around you as you set a clear intention for your most loving. What does your most loving and highest good? And allow for this love to expand to your fellow man, this wonderful tsunami of love and this web of light encompassing you and mankind. And now, see clearly the most loving and highest good for Mother Earth and the universe. And see Mother Earth encompassed in this web of light and love. Because now we're going to go on a journey to our favorite place. A place where all of the people and the animals and Mother Earth are connected to all of creation. And this place, your favorite place, is filled with love, joy, peace, gratitude, and compassion. So go on this journey of bliss. And when you return, bring all that love and peace and joy back with you.